I'm Jamboni Nyote, and welcome to the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. And of course, I believe, or rather, I am hoping that everyone is doing okay. To those who have already met their way, that is to work, of course, I'm wishing you the very best this day, considering that, of course, things have not been quite okay, but I am hoping that everything will get to take a good turn, considering that we are almost coming to the end of the week, and that is why we should always be grateful. We should always be grateful on the days that, of course, we are given right here. This is the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network, whereby you do get to listen, engage, and transform each other. But before you even get to venture into that, remember you can take just a few seconds and get to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And once you are logged in, you can proceed and get to take a look at some of the videos. That is some of the shows that you might have missed. You can also get to like these shows. You can also get to, share with your friends, your family, get to spread the message out there. And still, when you are logged into Black Hot Fire Network, you can also proceed and get to take a look at some of the amazing music that gets to play, of course, right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. And last but not least, the music is a food for your soul, and you definitely need to feed your soul some positive vibrations. Once more, my name is Calmie, and like I said, we are almost coming to the end of the week. And today being on a Wednesday, it is actually a great day, I know, for those who are in the diaspora. But they say that when this is some greatness in something, also take a look at the other side of the coin. But before you even get to venture on what is going down today in the diaspora, here are some wise words that can get, of course, that can get, of course, to do your day good. And as much as we, the human nature is all competing. And at some point, I wouldn't want, to point fingers at at someone and things like that. because on most occasions, even in your family, you get to realize that if you have done a good, if you are that maybe cousin, that relative that is always winning, and is that also the relative that is always not winning, trust me, this is the time that hatred gets to arise. But let me tell you one thing today: we rise more by lifting others. And I do not have anything, against those who have really been working hard and they have been winning it. And I'm just stressing on this fact that some people don't be out here. Some people are out here not wishing you good. But you, as an individual, and you want to give back to the society, remember, you rise by lifting others. The moment you get to lift someone up, that is the moment you also get to have some of course, the good favors that life can get to offer you. But moving on from that, of course, today in the United States, I believe you will be having the 46th president, that is at Joe Biden, of course, being sworn in. And I was taking a look at some article that was saying Joe Biden being sworn in. What does that mean for Africa? Let me just pause for a minute. It doesn't mean anything for Africa. We've had the likes of Obama being elected as a president, and for once the Africans thought like, okay, we do have now someone black. He is going out here to represent us. We are still the same. We still have the same problems in Africa. If anything, Obama was all about campaigning for the LGBTQ. We did have Trump, and Trump never spoke good about Africa. If anything, I remember there was this time whereby we did have this situation in terms of the dam that was being created. I believe it was between Somalia, Egypt, and Sudan, if I'm not wrong. And Trump, of all the people, he was mad that I think then Ethiopia hadn't agreed to the agreement. And Trump was mad, and he even went ahead and said that they're not going to get a penny. So I can say the US presidents don't mean anything for Africa, but they mean something to our presidents, because that will mean that there will be the continuous, the continuous misuse of funds, the continuous, that is the land grabbing, the issue with the stealing, of products that do get, I'm talking about the likes of minerals and things like that, that should be benefiting the citizens. But when a president is elected and sworn in, I don't think it has an impact on the common wananchi. Common wananchi is basically the civilians, but it does get to have an impact that is to the, it does get to have an impact, of course, to the president, to our presidents, because they know they'll get to benefit. And that is why once a president gets to win, most of the time, maybe in the diaspora, you'll see a lot of African presidents, going out on their timeline, going to raise praises, congratulating him, because they do want a share of something. But of course, nevertheless, today being on a Wednesday, Joe Biden is to be sworn in as the 46th president, of course, amid there has been some turmoil, in the US, but we are wishing and hoping the people of the US all the best. And today, being on a Wednesday, we always talk about history, and history is one thing that we cannot do away with. History is something that cannot be eradicated. As much as we've had, there has been a lot of propaganda, especially in the African history. One that is one race trying to be. I'm talking about the white race, of course. The white race are trying, to be, let me use this one, the white race trying to outdo the black race, and the white race also eradicating some of the unique ancient African history. But nevertheless, today we will be covering, that is, in terms of archaeology, we'll be taking a look at some of the unique and amazing places you can get to visit, of course, once you are in Africa. But as much as we'll be talking about archaeology for some time, we'll also be focusing on some of the unique tribes that are slowly going to come into extinction. And of course, we'll take a look at some of the reasons as to why these tribes are going to be extinct. But before I even get to focus on that, let's take a look at this amazing, this amazing trip that is almost coming. And I am talking about Tanzania. Tanzania, here we come. This is what I'm talking about. Remember, you can simply get to join us on this amazing tour, which is going to happen on the month of April. April 12th, we will be in Tanzania, and we will be, of course, discovering the spirit of African Renaissance in Tanzania. We'll be going to Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar. So trust me, you wouldn't want to miss this. And I've told you the last time we were in Tanzania, of course, we did get to have fun. But due to the COVID-19 situation back then, because different countries were calling back their people home, we did have, of course, to cancel our stay there. But this time round, because I can say that the economy has stabilized, that things are now a little bit way back to normal, you need to be on that bandwagon and get to join us to the Dar es Salaam Zanzibar tour. And perhaps you're wondering, what is so unique? I mean, why should I even get to go to Tanzania? There is some great places apart from the good weather. As for me, I loved the weather. I just don't need to be all that warm because you need to carry light clothes. I loved the weather. I loved the hospitality that was in Tanzania. I loved the view. And let me tell you one thing. Once you get to, move away from your home, to be in a new African country, or to be in a new country, and I'm focusing on Africa here, it gets to give you that sense of belonging. It gets to give you, that a situation whereby you get not to gauge yourself. What are you good at? What have you been missing? What do you need to focus on in your life? And they say traveling is also a good therapy. We all agree that 2020 wasn't a good year for a majority of people. And it is high time that you get to travel out there and get to discover, of course, get to enjoy Africa, get to take a look at what Africa gets to offer you. And I've told you, apart from the good serenity, because serenity also, that is a good environment that gets to give you that conducive space whereby you can get to think about, you can get to focus on your life. You can get to know what is needed to be done by you. You can get to just discover a lot of talents about you. So join us, and of course we will be traveling, that is, to Tanzania on April 12th, right here on the Black Hot Fire Network. Feel free, of course, to contact Keith, and he will give you a go ahead in regard to that. And moving on from that, I've just stated that you'll be focusing a little bit on the history. But before that, we have been talking about different African countries trying to get these COVID-19 vaccine. There have been, of course, different reactions to this. Personally, I am not for that. And earlier on, I was just wondering, travel. They have now made it that it is mandatory for you to travel and have this COVID-19 vaccine. And I think I just wouldn't want to get this vaccine. Definitely, I wouldn't want to get this vaccine because different African countries have insisted that on arrival to their country, you need to have that COVID-19 vaccine. But let's take a look at the situation and how it did get to happen. Of course, in Africa, we did get to take a look at different African countries, the likes of Madagascar coming about this vaccine, the organic, actually, vaccine. But as you know it, the World Health Organization, because it is not working for the goodness of something good coming out of Africa, they have to wait until a European country has to come with the sense for them to announce that now it is good for human, of course, consumption. So we had the debate about the use of organic vaccines. I am for something organic any day, anytime, because we have seen that there have been some reactions with these vaccines that they have, of course, given to people. And also one thing about these vaccines is that you'll get to realize that there will be a lot of counterfeits flocking the market. Let's take a look at the situation, of course, that did get to happen in Africa in terms, of course, in terms of the vaccine. About for that slight hitch, let me just get share this video. But I do believe that everyone is cautious of what needs, of course, to be done. This is just from Africa, and perhaps you can get to watch this before you get to embark on the topic of the day in terms of taking a look at the archaeology in Africa.
Listen to me with an open heart. These are the words of Fela Adepola Kuti of blessed memory. And these words are still very much valid. To all African people, make sure you spread this message, because the understanding of this video you're about to watch is the key to the solution of all your problems, to the solution to all your miseries, subjugation, exploitation, intimidation, harassment, racial discrimination. I must tell you that the experience of an average black man is relatively the same, cutting across the entire universe. They treat and subject African people, black people as they call it, men and women of color, as though they want nothing. The issue of racism, the issue of exploitation had been the order of the day whenever it got to do with a black man or woman. It didn't start today. But before I go further into the message I want to bring to you, I want you to listen attentively to this very narrative with respect to the issue of COVID-19, vaccination, and the rest of them. I'll be right back.
Consider the fortune of the person who, in effect, invented vaccination, introduced vaccination to America in 1721. That has to be the biggest fortune in the history of medicine, right? The pharmaceutical industry has produced many gigantic fortunes in this country, notably the fortune created by Robert Wood Johnson and his brothers in 1885 when they started the Johnson & Johnson Company, which has produced many products that have saved lives and led to the creation of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, which has done many good deeds. And that fortune has provided for generation upon generation of some members of the class that used to be known as the idle rich. The person who introduced immunizations in America was born into a caste that was not allowed to profit from his wisdom, from his genius, or even from his labor. He was a slave owned by a minister in Boston. A slave who saved lives in Boston during the smallpox epidemic of 1721 when he described a procedure that he had undergone in Africa before his life was stolen from him on a slave ship. Pulitzer Prize winner Isabel Wilkerson tells this story in her new book, Caste: The Origins of Our Discontents. Quote, people in West Africa had discovered that they could fend off contagions by inoculating themselves with a specimen of fluid from an infected person. That is the knowledge that slave brought to Boston in 1721, where he saved dozens of lives because of one doctor who decided to try that method that the slave described. 30 years later, vaccinations based on that method, introduced by a slave, became the standard practice in Massachusetts and eventually the rest of the country. There is no charitable foundation named for that slave. His descendants were not born into lives where work was optional. The life-saving gift he gave us did not even earn him his freedom.
You heard it from him. This is an explicit expression of what a black man or woman have been experiencing. Denial of their invention, deprivation to benefit from their efforts, from their resources, and from their wealth. African people have been subjected. African nations have been subjected, not even people, to the point where they are only good to be milked, to be used. And that is the truth. And we have wailed, we have cried, we have lamented enough. We owe it as a duty to our generation and that of the generations that are yet unborn to reverse this trend. Nobody will do it for us. We got to do it ourselves. That is why on this platform, I always say, we Africans must fix Africa. And it begins with leadership. The leadership of African countries are the worst ever. They are not patriotic to their people. I understand what happened. The balkanization of African territories. They call it Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. Where they smashed African boundaries and pitched divide and rule among us.
There you have it, a brief of course, all this that is happening, of course, in our society. But it is upon you and me to stay work on such events. Karibuni sana to the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Blackwood Fire Network, and I do trust that everyone is doing okay. At General Mosquito, you have said peace, Calmie, peace unto you too at General Mosquito, and I do trust that you are doing okay. General, you are, I mean, you said, is this guy Nigerian? He speaks like he is crying. Yes, he sounds a Nigerian. I believe he is a Nigerian. But I think he is mad for what we are going through here in Africa. But nevertheless, this is the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Blackwood Fire Network, media for the 21st century. And of course, like I've earlier on said when we started the show, that today, being on a Wednesday, being on the 20th of January is when, of course, the inauguration of Joe Biden is taking place. And I have said this, and let me repeat that. I saw an article somewhere that was asking, what does this mean for Africa? And I'll just clearly repeat it once more. It doesn't mean anything for us, because at the end of the day, we are still the same Africans going through the same problems, but our leaders are the ones who are benefiting from this. And let me just point this one out. I got to, compare these two countries. I got to compare Kenya and Sudan. Let me tell you, the people of Sudan, they are strong. We saw them taking it out there to the streets. We saw them, of course, rioting against Bashir's regime. But here in Kenya, I have not seen any single Kenyan going out to the street and rioting against some of the leaders we did get to elect. And this comes out after just a few days ago, our president had the guts to say that on a daily basis, we are losing 2 billion Kenyan shillings, that there are some people who are stealing 2 billion Kenyan shillings on a daily basis. I mean, our president knows this is happening. Definitely, he knows the perpetrators, and he isn't doing something. And we are the same people who are being taxed. We are the same people who have to pay those, of course, debts that Kenya has gotten from China, Japan, to name. But the same president that is ensuring that taxes on some of the common commodities that we love using have gone high. He cannot take his time and get to, arrest some of these perpetrators. I mean, back then, if you ask me who a thief is, I'll tell you that a thief is someone who is dressed in maybe raggedy clothes, maybe looking all dirty and so on. No. Thieves have changed, or rather they have evolved. They are the people you are close to. They are the people who get to dress in those nice suits, in those nice dresses. But then again, I'm just hoping that Kenya we will take a positive turn, because it is all about us youths, that we do not get to be paid by this politician to keep quiet. Next year, we will also be having our general elections. And so far, I've been seeing some articles trending, whereby people are scared that they're hoping that the year 2021, we might not get to witness the general, that is the election of violence that you did get to witness in the year 2007. And this is due to, some of the malicious statements that our politicians are saying out here in terms of trying to make one tribe look bad than the other. Anyway, moving on from that, let's take a look at some of these amazing, discoveries that are here in Africa. Remember, on a Wednesday is whereby we get to talk about history. And for example, for those who do not, for those who are also wondering what is good in Tanzania, we'll also take you through that. There are some amazing, unique archaeological sites in Tanzania. It is good to know where you are coming from. It is good to know your history because, like I've told you, the African history has been altered in one way or another. Some information has been missing. And right now, if we sit down and start talking about the existence of something, trust me, I wouldn't want to talk about that topic because there has been a lot of, theories surrounding it. And at some point, I'm like, I think my head will spin if I get to go into this. But let me start with this. Ecology is definitely, the study of human activities. And this is just through the recovery and analysis of material culture. That is what I'm telling you. It is good to join that bandwagon on the trip to Dar es Salaam, on the trip to Zanzibar. Trust me, there are some unique places you would love to see. There is some rich culture in Africa that most people do not know about, and rather most people are ignorant, to just dig into facts. But of course, today we are focusing on archaeology. And in terms of this, before I even get to, to go to any other country, let me start with what is good in Tanzania. Let me start with what is good, of course, in Tanzania. This is due to the fact that we will be going to Tanzania on, of course, April, and it is good for you, to get to join us because there is a lot of activities that we can get to do. There is a lot of activities that we can get, of course, to deal with in Tanzania, and of course, I'll just love to share with you some of the archaeological sites in Tanzania that we can get to visit, or rather, you can get, the moment you are in a country, that is the moment you get to feel that, like, yeah, I am in Tanzania, and definitely this is good for me. Definitely this is something that I get to familiarize myself. This is something worth 1,000 pictures because they say that a picture is 1,000 words, and definitely you would want to frame that. So in Tanzania, in terms of archaeology, and I've told you, archaeology goes hand in hand with getting to know the culture of the people. Get to know what did your ancestors get to use, what did your ancestors get to survive on. I mean, how was, in terms of survival, how was the survival? It could be in terms of maybe the type of, hunting they get to do, because this is very evident on some caves that have been found to have some different, drawings. It could be in terms of, how they live, that is their way of life, because all these, like I've told you, on caves you can get to see the type of food they hunted, the type of clothing they of course got to wear. There's just something rich in archaeology, and like I've told you, Africa on most occasions, it is, there has been the alteration of information. So for example, in Tanzania, we do have the Oldupai. It's called Oldupai or Olduvai George Museum in Tanzania. We do have the Great Mosque. Of course, I'm going to share with you some of these images. We do have the Kondoa Irangi rock paintings, Kolo. And like I've told you, there is some great knowledge when you get to see this. And Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, in Zanzibar, there is something rich. And I love for a fact how, the ancient Swahili houses, they say that when you take a look at these houses, from outside, you're like, this probably looks old. But get to go in, get to take a look at some of these unique designs. These are some of these designs you can get to use in your homes. So we do have the Kondoa Irangi rock paintings. We also do have the Great Mosque. Definitely, you need to see this. It is in Kilwa Kisiwani. Wow. We also have, that is the Department of Archaeology and Heritage, which is found in Dar es Salaam. So definitely these are some places you can get to take a look at. Let's take a look at, It's all about taking a look at the history of the people of Tanzania. And I believe we come from different tribes. We have unique culture. We have a unique history. My history is not the same as your history, but at the end of the day, we do have some similarities in our history. And just to continue with that, let me just share with you some of these amazing, of course, images. And perhaps you're wondering, why should I get to go to Tanzania? Why should I even be interested in taking a look at, archaeology? For example, in Olduvai George, of course, it is a site in Tanzania. And what I've told you, it's called Olduvai or Oldupai. This site in Tanzania, actually, it holds the earliest evidence of the existence of human ancestors. Yes, here is where the debate goes. You have been wondering, there has been, I've told you that even if we start talking about this, we won't finish today. I told you that there is some differences. Someone will tell you that, oh, maybe we came. There's this the Charles Darwin, of course, theory. I don't want to go through that, but once you are in an African country and you get to visit, that is maybe their museums, that is when reality hits you that there is something that we are holding on to. So in Olduvai George, we do have the existence of human ancestors. This is what you'll get to take a look at. And it is all about, there have been hundreds of fossil-sized bones and stone tools. Remember, they say that back then, a million years ago, people used to hunt with stones, spears made from, stones, all this, a majority of things was actually made from stones. So you'll get to take a look at this. This is something very, very ancient. And of course, it will show you the evolution of human beings from using stones, lighting fire with stones, to now that we are in the modernized era whereby we get, of course, to light a fire with matchsticks. And of course, there are different types of archaeological sites that you can get to take a look at. And this might be even villages. This might be even cities. There have been, I love watching documentaries that you can take a look at some of, there are some cities that are underwater that are still existing. Trust me. You can take a look at these cities. Some of them, they are underwater, or some of them are just left haunted. So in terms of archaeological sites, it's not necessarily the tools. It is not necessarily in terms of stones, but it is something that was used by our ancestors as a way of survival, as a way of having a sense of belonging. Because I do understand, like earlier on I have told you, that different communities, yes, you are in the diaspora, I am in Kenya, maybe you come from Congo, maybe you come from, Ghana, you come from Burkina Faso, Nigeria, just different African countries. And because our ancestors had a way of survival, had a way of living, I can say there's a slight difference, but if you come to gauge it, you'll get to see that the similarities get to outline, that is, the differences. Other types of archaeological sites, they may be stone quarries. Perhaps this is where they used to, mine these stones, get to use these stones maybe to make hunting equipment, the likes of knives, spears. We do have rock art. Rock art is actually the most commonly one that has been seen by people, whereby it will show you what they used to eat, what they used to, the way of life, in short. And many people actually do get to believe in the rise of the full moon, half moon, and things like that. This was their calendar. So definitely on this rock art, you'll get to see this. We also do have the ancient cemeteries. And I believe this is very much common in Egypt, whereby you've had all these stories about that is the burial of the kings, the burial of prominent people. And I'm talking about, these are some of the cemeteries you'll get to take a look at. And they'll actually show you, how the people were buried back then. If you are ancient, if you are royal, if you are royal, not ancient, if you are royal, definitely there was a way that you could be buried. And I love for a fact that how strong the concrete that they used was, that it has been able, to persevere, the harsh weather conditions till now. That's something that did get to happen 1,000 years ago. We can still get to see it. So remember, I'm talking about Tanzania, and of course, I'm just giving you a brief of some activity you can get to do. And I've told you, traveling is a therapy, considering that 2020 was quite not good for most of us. This is the time, this is the year for you to get to diverse your mind. This is the year for you to get to do that one thing that you've always been afraid to do. We also do have campsites and also megalithic stone monuments. These are some of the things that include, of course, some archaeological site. And of course, I'm talking about the old George in Tanzania. And let's just agree on one thing. Let's just agree on one thing. There's on most of the time when you get to read these articles, you'll be like, maybe such and such a place was discovered by maybe Mary Leakey and things like that. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that a white man came to my country and discovered a place that I have been living for decades, for 1,000 years? Remember, I used that one. And this man, all of a sudden, because he came to Africa and saw that place, and it is now termed as he discovered, and the place is named after him or her. That is not where history goes wrong. And I've told you that the African history has been tampered with for quite a long time. For example, in Kenya, we do have Lake Victoria, which was I think Kisumu was actually called Port Elizabeth, if I have said that correct. And this is after they said that a white man discovered it. Like till now we do have Lake Victoria being called after whoever discovered it. And not only Lake Victoria, different places are called after the white man because they believe that they discovered the place, which is quite wrong, because we did have the same Africans living in this place for 1,000,000 years, for 1,000 years, and they didn't go out there and claim that they discovered this place because this was a home to them. Let me just share a brief of some of these sites in Tanzania as we get to proceed with the show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network. Perhaps this is something you wouldn't want to miss in terms of knowing your history. All right, you do have I remember Bagamoyo very well. We passed by this road in Tanzania. This is Bagamoyo, and you can see this is something very, very ancient. And I've told you, archaeology can be in different forms. And I've told you, this is, they say that a picture is 1,000 words. Definitely, you need to get that pic here and get to show the world that yes, you did the hashtag Tembea Africa, and you got to see for yourself that history, that is the African history, is indeed true. We do have the Kaole ruins. This is also in Tanzania. You can see how ancient these, of course, is. Let me also share this. Of course, this is now the old George in Tanzania, where you get, of course, where I have highlighted the casa. This is whereby you get to take a look at the history of the people of Tanzania. This is still one thing. Of course, it is hard for you to run away from history. It is hard for you to say that history never existed. It is hard for you to, keep on questioning the existence of history, while you can just get to go and take a look at all these for yourself. This is in Tanzania. Wow. All right, moving on from that, this is definitely in Tanzania. Moving on from that, let's take a look at other historical sites in terms of archaeologicals. We also do have different African countries. that get, of course, to dwell so much, of course, in archaeology. And let me just also take you a little bit in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, you also do have some rich, of course, culture there. That is the culture of the people. And for one reason, I think I've been having this feeling of, trying to travel to Ethiopia. I wouldn't mind traveling to Ethiopia because they seem to be people with a very rich culture. It's something that I wouldn't mind borrowing their culture. So in Ethiopia, we do have the Axum, and the Axum is actually one of the oldest inhabited places in Africa. We also do have the Awash Valley, and these are just the things that did get to exist millions of years ago. And like I've told you, it is good for you, to get going. It is good for you, to get to join that bandwagon, get, of course, to travel and get to see all these for yourself. Because if anything, history is something which is rare. It is something which is very important, of course, in different African countries. And of course, let's get to continue slightly with this short video. And remember, we are talking about archaeology, of course, in different African countries. But let me just share with you some of the images that perhaps someday, if you want to travel to Ethiopia, you can get to take a look at some of this. Let me just share some of these images with the family. It is quite hot in Nairobi. I think it might rain. Let me just share this. That is in Ethiopia. Welcome back to the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Fire Network Media for the 21st century. And I'm just taking you through some of the unique archaeological sites that you can get, of course, to venture, that is, to take a look at. You can definitely give yourself some break, considering that 2020 was quite a stressful year. So of course, you can get to tour around Africa and get to ease up. And I see at a BOB Rewards Club, you have said a good morning. A good morning to you too at a BOB, and I do trust that you are doing okay and that you are looking forward to a fruitful Wednesday. And just moving on from that, remember we are talking about archaeology today, but I would love, of course, to jump in and get to take a look at this disturbing situation that is happening, of course, that is happening in Kenya in terms of the El Molo community. The El Molo community is one of the Kenya's smallest ethnic group, and this group actually has around 560 people. And of course, this is amongst one of the tribes that it is believed they will become extinct. This is due to the fact that some of the members of this community, either they are too old, to continue with their generation. Also, the fact that they are located near Lake Turkana is also something. And this is because that on most occasions, the government gets, to forget those who are in rural places. We do have, the likes of the Red Cross in Kenya that gets to move from one remote place to another, trying to give people aid in terms of food, water, proper sanitization, good, trying to ensure that their health is good. But on some places, they have not reached these places. Maybe due to the type of tribal wars that gets to happen in the borders, and as a result, they have not been able to go and assist these people. And also, we do have an issue with negligence, that the government will just decide, the people will survive on their own. So the El Molo, they live on the Komote Island of Lake Turkana, and soon their language will become extinct. And of course, people actually, it is not good that some of these tribes, they're not even included. If you ask someone, how many tribes do we have in Kenya? They'll tell you 42. And you'll come to realize that some tribes have not been even, included into this, just because maybe they are small, or just because, the government hasn't taken the initiative to move around from one county to another and take a look at some of these people who are located in these remote villages. And perhaps you are wondering who the El Molo are. They are, of course, a Cushitic, that is, they are, of course, Cushitic group that gets to exist the northern eastern province of Kenya. And of course, the El Molo is just their mother tongue. They also have been known to speak some little bit of Cushitic, and they have also been known to speak Samburu as a language. But there have been several factors that get, there have been several factors that have actually, contributed, to a tribe becoming extinct. There are some factors, and I've told you it could be in terms of age. Age has also been known to, contribute to the fact that, that is the continuation of a tribe is coming to an end because of age, maybe because the majority of that community that are still existing, they are old. So it is hard for them, to continue. It is hard for them to continue, of course, with their generation. We also do have the issue with whereby they are located. That in some place, in some remote place, life is not quite good in terms of the amenities provided for them. In terms, some people are still living actually in the olden days era, that it is hard for them to get access of some of these resources, and as a result, they are prone to diseases. I'm talking about diseases like malaria, diseases like HIV and AIDS. If you do not get to have your meds, then definitely you won't survive for quite a long time. So these are some of the factors that have hindered, the continuation of different tribes. And just to continue on that, there's also something unique about Kenya, that there are actually 7 people in the world who can speak this unique Kenyan language. I didn't know about it, and I'm talking about the Yanku people of the Rift Valley. Remember, you have talked about the El Molo people in of course Turkana, and also I'm talking about the Yaku. Actually, it's the Yaku people. I didn't know that there is a Yakunte. So they say that only 7 people around the world can get to talk, that is to speak this language, and these only 7 people, they are all over the age of 70. So you can imagine that if the government doesn't do something to preserve this language, then that will be the end of the Yankunte, of course, the Yakunte speakers. And I think, I also know that you didn't know about the Yakunte people. I've never known that in Kenya we did have the Yakunte people, that is the Yaku people. The Yaku people, and they are the Yakunte speakers. I didn't know we did have that in Kenya. But I would love for a fact that the government should do something in the preservation of this culture, because the Yaku, they are believed to have migrated from Ethiopia. Of course, there is a lot of myths and stories and theories circulating, of course, the existence of a community. But I just believe that the Yaku people migrated from Ethiopia to Kenya, and they settled in the Mukogondo forest, that is west of Mount Kenya. For those who do not know, Mount Kenya is definitely one of also the biggest mountains that you do have in the country. And people actually go to Mount Kenya to worship. People go to Mount Kenya to worship. So, of course, I've told you natural, of course, resources have also been used as a form of worship. I'm talking about mountains. I've talked about some time back the Mugumo tree amongst the Kikuyu. They also get to worship under this. And perhaps you're wondering what the Yakunti people are known for. They are known to be the hunting people, because they kept bees, and they have been trading with the Maasai, that is with the Maasai. And that is in regards to some of the cultures that are definitely going to become extinct if something is not done about that. And we are almost coming to the end of the show. And remember, this is the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. And today we have talked about different issues. We've talked about there is some of these unique archaeological sites which you can get take a look at. We've also talked about some unique tribes that if the government is not keen with preserving their culture, with teaching the younger generation of some of the culture, some of the ways of lives of these of course communities, then definitely we are going to go on a loss. And as we are almost coming to the end of the show, of course I'll love to appreciate everyone. I love to appreciate Kit for providing this of course platform whereby we get to take of course whereby we get to dwell on a different African issues, not only African issues, but also in the diaspora at large. And also remember, we do have the tour to Tanzania, that is to Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar, come April. So you need not to miss that, because there is some amazing things you can take a look at, apart from apart from the archaeological stuff. You can also get to visit the museums. You can also get to enjoy the culture of the people of these of course all over Tanzania. You can get to take a look at the way of life of the people of Tanzania. And just last but not least, remember you can get to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can proceed and get to take a look at some of the videos that you might have missed. You can also proceed and get to enjoy some of the amazing music that gets to play right here on the Black Hot Fire Radio. And also you can take a look at some of the articles that have been written there on the Black Hot Fire Network. I'm talking about blogs. And last but not least, you can get to like and share some of these videos, and you can also support the stream, we also get to appreciate that. You can support the stream at Cash App Mr. Blackwoodfire, and you can donate at www.blackfirenetwork.com. Of course, until then, I do trust that you are excited today being the day that Biden is now officially going to be a president. And of course, I know you do have a different sentiments in regards to that, but we are wishing you a peaceful day ahead. We do not want to have a situation whereby casualties being witnessed due to the way that people are going to react to all this. You need to stay safe. You need to be on the lookout, because at the end of the day, these leaders will always benefit themselves and their families, and we are just here to continue working, to continue pushing, such that you can get to have to put bread on the table. Keep it the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Blackwood Fire Network. And of course, we finished by slightly taking a look at what Africa gets to offer us as we come to the end of the show. Right now, still in Uganda, of course. Still in Uganda right now, we do have Bobby Wine still under house arrest, and of course, the clarity of the situation has not been highlighted. But the last time I checked, is that he is under house arrest with a kid, of course, a young kid. They say that it is an 18-month-old baby with his wife. No food, no coming in, no getting out. That's the situation still in Uganda. And of course, still in Uganda, the Ugandan voters today, they are going to return to the polls to elect city mayors. And of course, I just do hope that for this lot, that the issue with stealing of votes won't be witnessed. We just hope that for this lot, for once and for all, something that will make the people comfortable gets to be done, in terms of ensuring that that the election was peaceful, that there was no rigging of the election. And last but not least, of course, we are wishing the people of Uganda the very best. And we do have the likes of right now, musicians actually can get to contest for a seat and get to be given. Of course, we do have Bobby Wine. You've all seen his fate, but we are hoping that something gets to be done. And in terms of the city mayors, of course, a seat. We do have, of course, Jose Chameleon. I believe you have heard of Chameleon as an artist. He's also vying for that. He goes by the real name, that is Joseph Mayanja. Of course, that is in Uganda. We're just hoping for the best for the people of Uganda, because if anything, we do not wish any more bloodshed in Africa just for politicians. Anytime that I'm talking about the political period. Keep it the Calmie African Diary Show right here on Blackwood Fire Network. And you also do have other shows as well that will be coming right a few minutes from now. Until then, kwaheri na muwe na siku njema, and we'll get to interact on other shows. And just to wind up on this amazing, of course, quote that is on Wednesday, it is, of course, it goes like this: a smile costs nothing in money, time, or effect, but it is literally true that it can be of supreme importance in one's life. Let me repeat this. To those who are so money-oriented, of course, there's nothing bad with being a money-oriented. Money, at the end of the day, it can help you, of course, sort your bills and get to do a thing or two. But remember to end your day, or rather to start your day, with a smile, because a smile costs nothing in money, time, or effort, but it is literally true that it can be of supreme importance in one's life. That is the quote that is the Wednesday quote that you get to finish the show with. Keep it the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Blackwood Fire Network medium for the 21st century.